A prime example of insanity inside the system are insane agencies given insane tasks and insane purposes. One of those agencies is CPS. I have personal experiences with these CPS, which I will mention at the end of this note. But let's deal with cause one. First of all, first sign of mentally ill leadership is he calls himself Michael Jackson. Let's go get him. That's a sick, stupid individual right there. First of all, Michael Jackson was found innocent. They're too dumb to know it. They're on some insane trip, means they're out of touch with reality. If the man was found innocent, then he's innocent. And you made him guilty in your brain, means that something's wrong with you. Second of all, you can't go after someone because they're a Michael Jackson fan or Michael Jackson ish or like Michael Jackson. Oh, but if he like Michael Jackson, he must be a pedophile. You're doubly sick and insane. You're going to be the first agency to get sliced in the CPS crusade, Merced, California. The second one is going to be Hanford, California, because these were my two test grounds where CPS failed the test. Here's what's going on in Merced. Now, if the threat really exists, and I don't doubt that they are individuals out there with what you call deviant behavior, but why every time I turn around, they're trying to set me up, entrap me, tempt me into a situation. You don't have to cops don't have to create crime. Crime already exists. They don't have to set up crime. Now you're thinking about decoy prostitutes, okay? Which is a whole nother game, okay? You're not talking about sending a prostitute into someone's neighborhood across the street and see if he makes her an offer if she's over there bending over with her butt showing. Man, 99% of the men are going to fail that test. That is a not legitimate test of someone who is practicing a crime. That is the test of if you tempt most people, they will fail. Okay? If a woman comes on to most men, she will cheat. That's why all those television shows where the guy looks like he's cheating in the green room, he was seduced. And they left that part out. They just cut right to the part where he responded like it was his idea. Where every time I turn around, there's a park across the street. Frederick Douglass Park, I keep mentioning it. They keep sending little children and families with children. Like I'm supposed to be attracted to some baby or something, right? Because they have sex on their brain. Let me tell you once again who these people are. They're formerly traumatized, molested victims. They are former predators and perpetrators of this crime, which are insider with some it takes one to know one type of insane type of hiring practice. They are blue-haired old women who ain't had sex in so long. They have sex on the brain and they think everyone else does. You know how the saying goes: all liars think everyone's lying. All Steve thinks everyone's stealing, and on and on and on. That's who these people are. Who would take a sick job like that? Someone who's been abused and wants revenge, or on and on. Now they disguise it as I just want to help people who've been through what I've been through. I've seen these sick deviants in these places sitting there getting off on voyeur stories told by children, getting off on, I can prove that they're actually getting a hard on off of molestation stories because every man does. See, that's the big secret. Every man wants his girl to tell him her secret times of how she was raped as a child and on because he gets off on this. Are they sick? Should they be locked up? Should every man be locked up? See, that's what I'm saying about rules set by insane people are not set for the real world. And they're gonna always mess things up. Some traumatized person probably created this thing. And I'm tired of them following me, I'm tired of this. Here's what they're telling these people. People who fell into the system, whose children should be took away. They're telling them, hey, if you help us catch this guy or one of these guys, we'll cut you a break. Sounds familiar? Sounds like they think they're cops. Hey, if you snitch on these guys, we'll go easy on you. That's what they're telling these people. So these people desperate to save their children, come out here and try to tempt me into looking like I'm attracted to their kids, but they can't do it because they love me more than these people, and they can't do it. So you know what they do every time? They find ways of signaling me and telling me I wouldn't be here except these people are threatening to take my kids away. I have no choice. I know you're not one of those people, but I have no choice. Please don't blame me. That's what each and every one of them does when they come. Reminds me of the hitman people sent to kill me. They just couldn't do it. I was wide open. It could have took me out any time. They just knew this is not a person that should die. He hasn't done anything. I should go back and kill the people who sent me. It's basically how they feel in the end. And it got scary. People stopped sending people. With this agency, I'm about to slice and dice them right now. I'm about to Benny Hanna them right now and chop them into small little chunks. I've had enough of them. They got an alert that I was out after them. Whoa, wee, duh. It's all out across the internet, across the whole world. Here's what they're going on. He's out to get us. Let's get him. Because I told you, they're insane. Playing revenge or something with a government agency like it's their own personal tool. Now, so that means their leadership is sick. Their staff is sick. And they should not be in social services. They should be receiving social services. Mental health. You don't have to believe me. Check it out. Check the history of everyone employed at CPS. Check their history. Check their background and see if it's their first encounter. They're always going to be victims or predators or, like I said, barren women with no children who think they know something about what children need on some psychotic mental trip of, if I had a child, I wouldn't treat them like that. If you had a child, you'd beat the little bad bastard's butt too, like all the rest of us. Or you wouldn't have a life, or the child be dead. That's what you don't know because you don't have children. So how are you an expert on children or any kind of authority or anything if you don't have any children? You know nothing about children. You should not be there. It should be a big mama personality who has a whole church of kids at her house. She's the expert on children. But no, she's one of the people you're trying to take all her kids from. Let's tell everybody why you're trying to take their kids. It has nothing to do with child abuse. It has to do with this is how this is what we get paid for. This is what we get paid for. Okay, this is my job. Let me tell you what this agency gets paid for. They get money from the government to go break up people's homes and see if they're guilty of something. To do an investigation. Break up your home, cut off your social services, which is based on people with dependent children. Aid to families with dependent children. You take the children away, their aid stops. And they turn them into homeless people, sleeping on relatives' couches or wherever they can sleep. Take their home from them, take their family from them, because they get paid for this. Okay? And then guess what? They got another budget that comes right behind that, called reunification, to put them back together. Get them up, help them get a place to stay and get back on their feet. Now they can't get this second budget if they don't rip their life apart with the first budget. See how it goes? They're motivated to wreck families. They're directed to wreck families. Their agenda is to wreck family, and their history is wrecking of families. You're not going to find a long list of adults who say, if CPS had to save me, I would have been completely done. It'd have been over for me if CPS had saved me. You're going to find a very few, because there are real life situations that they child needs someone to help them. But I would rather send the police, and I would rather give police that education and that skills and incorporate that into the police department. I don't want no other agency out here at the welfare department. They're not equipped. I don't see one person in social services who know a damn thing about human beings and how they function and how to handle they're not sociologists, they're not social scientists. They go take some weak class by a person who doesn't even know the subject themselves. That was the main reason for all these notes and everything I'm doing. Social science. I'm the expert. They're out to get me. What do they know about sociology? Nothing. What do they know about society? Nothing. What do they know about themselves? Nothing. They can't even cure themselves. But here they are. It's some child's life is in their hands to fix them. They can't even. If it did happen to a child, they're showing they can't even undo the trauma. Here they are, a grown 40, 50-year-old person, and they're still traumatized and they can't cure themselves. So what good are they to a traumatized, raped child or abused child? They don't know what to do about the fact they were abused. Oh, I can let them know they are not alone. Wow, that's a lot of help. The house is on fire and you're not alone. Is that going to help you? Hell no, you're still going to burn. These people are insane and they think their words are nouns because they're insane. They think the sounds they make a difference in the real world. No, it doesn't. It's just sounds like a dog barking. A dog barking doesn't make it rain and it doesn't make it stop raining. It doesn't affect anything in this world. And neither does your words. They're not real. Here's a clue about real. Everything is real except the thoughts in your head and the sounds that you're making are even real. They're real sounds, but they're not real nouns. You've angered the wrong person. They jeopardize these children's health, making them think there's such thing as an undercover CPS investigator, and there's no such job, no such person. It is a organization running a con game on children and uneducated people who have a lot of children. You know, a lot of Latino people and all kinds of things that's threatening them and scaring them. I know I've been through it myself. That's why they're on me. The first time these fools ambushed me is because I used to buy my kids brand new clothes by the stacks when I was playing Mr. Mom. All right? Raising my kids by myself. I used to buy my kids closest stacks of clothes. You know what these little bad munchkins used to do? They would go home and if kids teased them about the clothes like they weren't in style then, they would tear them up. I remember they went to school one day with brand new pants on and came back with giant holes in both knees. You could tell they had cut the hole and started ripping it and crawling on their knees. All because corduroys wasn't in then. Okay? So kids do stuff like this. But these dumb people in education, now you're going to be dumb in education. How can you be a stupid educator? They don't go together. Oh, those kids look like they're, abused or bad. Look how raggedy they are. Saw them come to school in brand new clothes and leave in raggedy clothes and go with the raggedy clothes thing. So I come home one day, I see a little card I see a little card on my door. I get two residents. One down the street with my baby mama who is pregnant, which is a better residence, and one I got just to satisfy social services to get my kids in the first place. Okay, wasn't all that great of a place, wasn't the Hilton, but it was livable. There was no holes in the wall. It wasn't raggedy. It wasn't a shack at all. There wasn't broken pipes or anything. It was an okay place, just a bad neighborhood. So down the street, about 2 or 3 blocks, not even that. The blocks were long. One block, actually one long block, I had a girlfriend who was pregnant, who lived in a brick apartment. So So I come home, I see a dog. We're living down the street. In other words, we're living down the street. We don't even live at this address. It's just to satisfy social services. Got to have an address. We have the once in a lifetime homeless assistance because I was living with my sister. My baby mama dropped the kids on me, and I had to do something immediately. We broke up. I was told to leave. I come back to California. Next thing you know, she can't handle the kids. She's dropping them off with a no warning. My sister volunteered to keep the kids. She's never had any children, never raised any children, never even reared or babysit any children. And I told them no, I'll keep the child myself. She wanted to fight me about it. And she made the statement of, I've had cats, it's the same thing. And that's when I decided, oh hell no, you can't keep my kids. Cats, it's the same thing. You're one of the sickos. So I got my kids and I went homeless and I did the welfare thing, the human services thing. I got assistance, got an apartment, got everything back on my feet, got a girlfriend, got a life. We're doing fine. Kids enrolled in school, everything's great. You know, it's actually happening right now again. The first wave has already went by. It's actually happening right now, this very moment, as I'm standing here on the phone. With them sending these VCR backpacks by me because they call me Michael Jackson. And they need a blue clue that Michael Jackson was found not guilty and that you're sick and you're about to be fired. And so, next time I will videotape it and show and demonstrate exactly how this works and what is going on. But I'm getting ready to hang these people. I'm finna hang them out to dry right now. So as the story goes on, I come home one day and I find this card from CPS on my door. I've never even heard of CPS. I didn't know what they were or nothing, but it said Child Protection Agency. I panicked. I was like, hey, somebody doing something to my kid? Let me call these people quickly. Let me hurry up and get these people. Someone's messing with my kid. Okay? Now, felt had to let the plants and different people, they're scattered in between the other kids. You got to understand that there are people who don't live anywhere in this neighborhood. There is another bus stop closer to where they're I see them walking to, which gives them all away. They're gonna get off way down here by my house and walk by my house. This is what my fans do, but I can tell when something's out of whack. So like I was saying, I can tell when something's abnormal. So I know which kids, 'cause I've been here for generations. I watch kids go to elementary school. I watch them grow up, go to junior high, watch them go to high school. Then I watch them come back by here with their own children and their own jobs. I've done this many times to many. It's my reputation. It is how a lot of people know me. They're from my neighborhood. Now here's what seems to be bothering me. You know, there's many, many girls of all ages who have crush on me, like Justin Bieber or Michael Jackson or whatever. Okay, and if there was going to be an incident, it would have been one by now. Come on, it's been 20 years, like I said before. All right, and there's not a single incident. Here's what they're going by. So I call them, and they say, can you be there at the house tomorrow? This is on a Saturday. Can you be at the house tomorrow? We spend the weekend with my baby mama down the street. I said, hey, my kids have a really bad cold. I don't want to take them out in the cold. Well, it's really important. They must be there. We need to see them and make sure they're all right. So I drug my kids out in the cold, okay, to meet with these people. Dude, you mean? So I'm going to tell the whole story. I'm going to tell the whole story and I'm going to put it in the notes. The background noise is intended to increase. As soon as I mentioned them, they went to send their noisy vehicles thinking they can disrupt the note because they're really dumb like that. They're so stupid. They're like Homer Simpson. That's how dumb they are. I mean, I almost hate them because they're so stupid. It's like they're too stupid to live. Should be put to sleep or something. So this is how it goes. So I come home, I see the card, I call them. They beg me to meet them at the other house. I explain to them I don't live there most of the time. So I come. No, they come. This lady comes and she brings a cop with her. My kids are in the back room, still in their PJs, sick from a cold, running around playing in the water at school, out of my sight. School messed up. Okay, so they're sick. I'm nursing them back to health. She wants to see them. I tell them to get dressed. The kids aren't idiots, they're clowns. Little boys, okay? They're clowns. I tell them to get dressed. I got a pile of clothes in the hallway that were too small for them. The clothes, they ripped holes in the knees and all this. I'm getting ready to throw these clothes out. Just piled it up a few days ago. I'm still going through everything, wasn't finished yet. Instead of them going to get some real clothes and put on, they went and got these clothes right here because sometimes when they tore these clothes up, I would make them go and pay for them, play in the clothes anyway, use them for play clothes. And in extreme situations where I'm at, I'll make them wear them to school because they were brand new. They just had holes in them. Now it's the fashion to walk around with rips in your clothes. But this is what sent these people to my house, they claim. So, they, they come to my house with the police and threaten me. Now, you know what this house is used for? It's used for me to gather together with a bunch of my, yeah, probably gang related friends. But they were not together to do gang related stuff. We're entertainers. They are rappers. I have the equipment. I have everything. They have to come to me. I don't want to hang out with ZB. So there's a you could smoke inside in those days, and you didn't feel bad. So I got this big ashtray full of cigarette butts, a couple beer bottles from practice, and so yeah, that okay. So she comes and tries to make it seem like the house is filthy, and the clears are raggedy because they didn't put on these clothes, and that she wants to take them and go talk to them. I say, you're not taking my kids nowhere. And the cop steps in front of him and says, she wants to take them, she's taking them. Now I don't want to fight with the cop because I don't want to lose my kids. So they tell me they're going to take them and talk to them and bring them back. Enough time for me to clean up the house. Oh, the house needs cleaning anyway. I don't mind. Clean the house up, they go. Now, they never brought my kids back. Talking about we're going to keep them, we have to ask some more questions. Now they got a fight on their hands. Because the first thing they tell me is we took them and we questioned them and we asked them about the brown stuff and the green stuff. And they told us our dad smokes the green stuff. Now, here what I'm telling you, I have never shown my kids any kind of drugs or anything. They don't know alcohol from soda. They're 7 years old. Okay, who gave you the right to show my kids drugs? Who gave you the right to even show them drugs? Talking about we showed them the brown stuff and the green stuff. And marijuana's legal now. See how stupid they sounds to me back then? Trying to find something out of thin air to justify their budget. So, they got my kids. Well, there goes the welfare check. The welfare check goes, there goes that residence. Okay, I'm struggling to keep the residence going until this thing is over with. Okay? Just received one last check. They've had my kids 2 weeks, but you can't beat good. They take my kids and they try to give them to some foster people. Kids didn't like the vibrations they had. They were hanging on to the door rails, not wanting you couldn't get them, and they couldn't get them in the house until they took them to this black lady. The lady seemed familiar to them, so she went with them. Guess who the lady was? The foster parent. She was my baby mama down the streets, auntie. Now, I'm now, now I'm not supposed to be anywhere near the kids. Let them tell it. But I'm in the park playing with my kids and all kinds of things because they're underhanded, they're wrong. I'm not respecting their rules. It's my girl's aunt. We're meeting up everywhere because my kids had never been away from me and they were traumatizing them having them away. So we get to court. They've had my kids away from me 2 weeks. And we're in court and everything they bring up, you can check the transcripts, which I will publish. The judge says that's not a crime. I don't see what crime he's committed. Why is he here? The judge keeps saying this over and over, and they keep trying to find stuff, steady find stuff to justify keeping my cute little kids that they adore. Okay? But the judge is telling him he isn't guilty of anything. And they say, well, the bags were on the floor. They didn't have any frame. And this was that. He said, it's not a crime to be poor. You keep telling me, oh, they were poor. Of course, they're on welfare. They're poor. They were poor. That we should take his kids because they were poor? No, no. And the judge was not going to give it no ground. So they asked for more time to try to build a case and do all this here. And I'm like, I'm not cool with this. So I asked the judge. Now my baby, their mom has been flown down here by them. Now I already called and set them up and everything, but they're going to try to shortstop me and get a hold of her so they can tell her to help to say the mom's on our side. The mom is on her kid's side, and that's all she cares about. She don't know if they're telling her the truth or a lie. Here's what the story. My alcoholic sister, who wanted to keep my kids, came to visit one day. And me and my kids were playing kung fu like all boys do in the front yard as she was leaving because she's an alcoholic. All right? Here's what her drunk mind saw. I kicked my kid and knocked him out. Who does that? You know, I pretend like I kicked my kid and he's such a clown and an actor. He falls on the ground and he stays there like a minute, 2 minutes. This drunk with a history of mental illness, mad because she done got discharged from the Navy and life is on the skid on the way down. So, called drinking on duty. Tell a whole bunch of other stories, but that's what it was. She calls my mom and tell him he kicked the kids and knocked them out in the yard. He don't feed them right. He don't tell her all these horror stories. Now my mom is like their mom. She don't know whether this stuff is true or not, but oh no, we can't have this. So, as I was saying, she doesn't know what's going on. She's trying to protect her grandkids. Maybe her son lost his mind like everybody else and he's on crack too. She don't know. And so, see, this is what led CPS to my house in the first place. Now, we're in court. The judge is telling him he's not guilty of anything. You can check the transcripts, which nobody ever does, okay? Especially these other CPS people. They never bothered. And all of these politicians, they're dumb like that too. They never bothered to check the case. So, baby mama's in the 2 or 3 rows back, bawling her eyes out. So their mom's bawling her eyes out in the back row. You can't hardly hear the trial for her back there crying. She's not a criminal. They old criminals know crying in court don't work. Just makes the judge go mean on you. She's not. She's a person with a learning disability. She's not too bright. So I asked the judge, hey, they're talking about scheduling another court date. Listen to what these people say. They've had my kids 2 weeks. My lawyer says, let's make a date next week. They say, we can't make it. They say, let's make a date for a week after that. He can't do it. And they go back and forth. These people go back and forth a month in the future. 2 months away, they tried to schedule a trial. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Judge, can you release these kids to the custody of their mom? Judge said, I can't release the kids. I can't release the kids to a parent who's been out the home over 2 years. She doesn't know about these kids or whatever. I can't just do that unless you're guilty of something. The court said I forgot it all. I'm, I made sure that even when I whispered to my attorney, I whispered loud enough for the whole court to hear, so she had to type it. And I asked the judge. So I asked my attorney at that moment. Asked him if he'll take the dirty house as guilty of something when he had just said on record having a dirty house or what none of this stuff was a crime. Being poor wasn't a crime. Out of sympathy, this judge let me use this dirty house to get the children out of their custody and to their mom. She's so busy crying, she didn't hear any of this or see any of this. She think I was found guilty or something. She's retarded actually. And so I'm gonna do something horrible to the people behind this, and it doesn't have anything to do with CPS. That's another note though. So the judge accepts it, and then no one notices how smart I am. I put it on record that I'm not guilty, but on record it says I'm guilty. See, child trial results said, hey, the kids were taken from him for child abuse or neglect or something. The transcript says he set the whole thing up and he's not guilty of anything. But nobody's reading the transcript. They're looking at the children were taken from his home for neglect or something. Okay, case one. Time goes on. I don't have to tell about my children, those two children. I have another child on the way. Okay? Me and this girl start having a difference of opinion. About four about 4 years later. This was 1992 when they ambushed me about my kids. About 1996, we started having a difference of opinion. I didn't like her as much as I thought I did as I found out more and more about her. But now we got a kid. And I tell her straight out, I'm taking my kid with me. I'm not leaving him with your alcoholic. You really messed up. You're a basket case. I see why you shouldn't even be working at the school as a yard attendant, a functioning alcoholic. But anyway, so she's worse than that. She's foul and vulgar and a whole bunch of things. I guess men are attracted to loose women or easy conquest. I don't know what made me do that. She's a decent human being, don't get me wrong. She just has the issues. So, you tell a mom you're going to take their kid away, and they're already scared of you, and you're smarter than them, know you can, they're going to panic. She goes to her mom, and she gets some female advice. These people got a long history of doing things to people to get rid of them, get them out the picture, but they always try the same move, just like these people. Let's set him up with a sex charge and get him out of here. But not really. We can't let him actually do nothing or get him to actually do nothing. We're just going to insinuate, which is enough. I'm thinking this whole thing is accidental. It's to prevent me from taking my child from this girl. They act like the whole thing was an accident. Here's the incident. The child has mental problems too. Why? She was in an accident and got her head cracked open and lost her brother. Now I've given her another brother because she was in there talking to ghosts. Now I've given her another brother. She is not trying to let this brother go. She lives for this brother. My son has his own room, but she keeps him in her room, and she has 3 beds in her room, bunk beds and a regular bed. My son is sleeping in a little bed aside. She's supposed to be in her bunk bed. She's in the bed with my son. Okay, they're children. I'm not really thinking twisted. My mind doesn't work like that. But she has a habit of snatching the cover from my little bitty son and balling up in it while he's sitting there shivering all balled up in a knot in the cold. And she does this every night. And every night I come have to wrestle the sheet from her and cover my kid back up. Well, this one night, I snatch the sheet from her and she goes to wake up. And I step a couple steps back, take no chances. She goes back to sleep. I cover them both back up, and then I go back to the night shift, guarding over my family while I write my songs and do everything while it's quiet and no interference. Up all night, damn near. So about an hour later, I hear the door slam, and it's the door to my room. Now I'm knowing my baby mama is asleep. She has to go to work in the morning. Then I hear her calling my name. So I jumps up and I run in there. The little girl's in her room. She says straight direct to me because my baby mama's blunt. She says, Devin said you're in her room messing with her or something. Now here's what I did. I messed up because I just started laughing at them both. I could see what the implications was on it, but it was really like funny to me. It was just funny to me, and I bust out laughing, and the way I handled it, maybe I shouldn't have handled it, like it was a joke because that joke came back to haunt me. Anyway, the girl went back to bed and they went on. Now two little girls get killed, and the perpetrators are on trial and and being hunted in our county. Two little girls, you can check the records. Maria Pachinko and Tracy Renee Conrad. Separate murders, but now there's a witch hunt going on for child murderers, child abusers, child anything. You doing child anything, we want your head on a stick. So I'm in on it too. I'm going around the neighborhood offering people a chance to videotape their kid so they have some identifying record besides some still photo. I never was. Them still photos are a joke. Have you seen this kid? You couldn't tell that kid from any other kid. But moving around in action on video, it's more distinct. It's more distinctive. You get a better character thing, even especially if you can hear them talking too. You know the sound of their voice now and their movements and any mannerisms. Okay. And so this is what I was doing when I got ambushed by his crap. Didn't think nothing more about that night. Another incident pops up in the family. My girl's mom married a guy, and my girl's niece was staying with my my kid's grandmother, my girl's mom, my mother-in-law. My girl's niece was staying with my mother-in-law, and she accused this guy of touching on her. Now this is a double problem. It's causing problems all through the family. Now they're at school on a witch hunt too, interviewing all the kids. They go to interview this little girl, and she tells them straight out. They say, "Have you ever had any child abuse experiences or anything at all?" She says, "No." She said, "There's been nothing in your life at all," and this stuff like this. She said, "Well, my cousin my cousin says my step grandpa touched her, but they don't know, and it's just going all kinds of ways." All right. So this right here led to, well, we don't know your grandma and all is here, so we're gonna have to come over that way and see about this. And then it comes out. So there's been no incidents with you ever. Well, there was this one night where my mom's boyfriend was in my room. I don't know exactly what happened, but blah blah blah. So she brings up the one incident. They come to my house while I'm at the studio practicing and rehearsing and doing whatever. I come home that day. Now remember, these people already caused my two twins me to have to get them out of their clutches to their mom, but I don't have them no more. Now here they are at my house again, and they was telling my baby mama Well, we're going to have to check this situation out and get her checked out to see if anything went down. And she's like, he crazy. He didn't do nothing to her, but they threatened her. You either he leaves this home until we investigate, or we're taking all the children. Oh no. So she tells me. She doesn't have to say no more. She doesn't say, can you leave? She doesn't have to say none of that. I say, I gotta go. So I end up sleeping outside my own door and sleeping in the laundry room, thinking they're gonna wrap this up in a few days and everything will be okay. It's a week and I'm outside sleeping in the car. So, and every day I go down to the police department, down to CPS, and ask them, what is the progress? What are you doing? Just like I did before. And no answers. Slow and retarded. Not capable of even doing the job. If they were doing the job, they're not mentally equipped to do it. It'll take them a year, do one case. No. We have better people in the world than those victims. No, they need mental treatment. They don't need to be treating victims. Anyway, so let's go on, because this is the smear campaign that they're going to try, or they are trying, depends on when this note is being listened to. Okay? They have no other ammunition. And they show that they're dirty individuals, not good individuals, because they try dirty moves. No more criminals and crazy in office is going to take their head off and want to stop me. They want to be a criminal or crazy and be in office too. They must stop me though, because I'm stopping that. So, this is the second case. And I'm down there every day bugging these people. They no progress, no nothing. We can't tell you anything. My grandmother gets ill and is on her deathbed. And I get the call. And I have to go see my grandma. She's about to die. And I'm roaming around homeless down there in this town. They haven't took any more of my kids, but they're saying if I go back to that house, they will. And they haven't took any action on this thing either, whether to check me out or verify and come back home or anything. So I hop on the bus and I go to see about my grandmother. And my other children are being brought back to California by my mom. Okay, my baby mama left them with my mother so that she could finish going to college and just take care of our daughter. All three were too much for her. So she left them with my mom. My mom comes back to see about her mom. My opportunity to see my kids, see my grandma. I come, my grandma dies. She's full of life when I get here. I asked her what's the phone number to the house so I can talk to my kids. She won't even let me dial the number. She snatches the phone from me and she dials the number. Okay? Saying you should know the number and dials it. Okay? This is one day. The next day I go back in. My mom's standing there beside her telling me she can't hear me. She's gone. How does that happen to a person in one day? I don't know what they did to her, but they killed her. And that's my decision on Mercy Hospital, the first one, and many other things, are the people who were in there that day or whatever. They killed my grandma. I don't care what they gave her or what they did. A person don't go from what she was one day to to a comatose vegetable the next day. It doesn't happen like that. It's a progress. So that's another story about the medical profession. So she dies. I go to the funeral. I want to make it the last funeral I ever go to. I've only been to a couple more since then, and that was 1996. I kissed her, and she was cold and hard, and it blew all my grandmother memories and dreams and stuff out of my head, and all I remember is her cold, hard body. I never wanted that feeling again. I remember people like they were when they were alive. I don't want to see their cold, pasty body in a coffin, so I don't go. People can be offended. They can think whatever they want. That person's no longer there. They're not mad at me, so I don't care what you think. That's another story, too. So, my mom has my kids. Our kids are screaming bloody murder. You don't know how she treats us. You don't know what she does. You know, Dad, you got to get us out of here. Please, Dad, please save us, save us, save us. This is what they tell every time we take a walk, every time we're together. This is what they do. So I take the kids. I just take them. They're mine. Can't get a person for kidnapping their own kids. She's thinking I got custody of them. The judge gave me custody. She went down and lied to the judge about where we was. Had warrants out for the mom for child abandonment, where she can't even come back and see about her own kids because she didn't went and lied and said she abandoned them on her doorstep, and ran off and joined a cult. We ran off and joined a cult. We're in two separate states. So anyway, make a long story short, that's another story. So now I'm in Merced, California. My grandmother's dead. Kids giving me all these stories. I don't believe them. They're talking about murking my mom. And I'm like, man, you touch my mom, I'll beat you beyond repair. You know, and they're telling me all this stuff. And I'm saying, man, that's my mom. Watch your mouth. I'm saying all these things, right? Well, it's wintertime. I'm smoking cigarettes. It's a devious person, I guess, because they're timing how long it takes me to smoke my cigarette. I only smoke a half a cigarette, though, this time. And I return back in the house to find my kid laying on the floor and her standing over him with a broken, sharp pointed broomstick with a point on it. Talking about just stabbing my kid and gonna turn to me and tell me I don't have nothing to do with this person standing over my kid with a sharp object threatening to stab them with the spear. And I just basically switched up right then. Mom went out the fucking window. You got me fucked up. Them are my damn kids, not yours. Talking about I have nothing to do with. And she got scared and she put the broom away. And didn't say nothing else because she saw the fire in my eyes. She's a devious person. So she waited till the next cigarette break and locked me outside. Right on her door, front door notice now, out in the cold. Nowhere to go. Don't live here no more. It's a strange city to me. Don't know my way around, can't find anyone. I'm suffering, I'm struggling. Oh, but let me back up some. I take the kids. I take the kids. We go rent a room at a house of a friend for a month. Within a week, authorities show up and condemn the house. She's already spent my money though. So now we got nowhere to live and I got no money. Now I have to return my kids to her because I cannot have them out here homeless. I return them to her, there goes the welfare check again. And I didn't even get a chance to get a job. I got them every day, all day. Can't even get them back in school. So I take them back and I go take the last money I have and get on the bus and go to Las Vegas. The rest is history about what I did to Las Vegas and in Las Vegas. Now, one day I get a phone call from my kid again. I'm working hard as I can to come back and rescue my kids. And he tells me I can't take it no more. I'm running away. I'm leaving now. And he hangs up. I left Las Vegas that night. I didn't take nothing with me. I left everything in storage, left everything but the clothes on my back, and I came with a karaoke machine. You'll probably always see me with some music, okay? And some case full of paperwork. So I come to Merced with only those two items. Still nowhere to live, nowhere to be, no nothing, but I'm gonna get my kid. And I do. And I get him, and it lasts as long as the money will last. But we can't stay in a motel based on what social services give you. You can only stay in a hotel 2 weeks based on what they give you. This is and it's completely gone. And most people find that out the hard way, like I did. They actually try. They should have did the math, but they figure something was going to happen in 2 weeks. So this is the complete story, everyone. I don't know if you have the patience for it, but I'm going to put it on record because there's these smear campaigns. You know, they're gonna try to CPS. They're gonna try the same thing this is. So what these people are thinking when they look at paperwork or punch my name up on the computer, hey, we got a two-time offender, two-time loser here. Okay, his kids were taken for him for neglect or something, and we see here he was accused of what was it, lewd and lascivious behavior upon a minor. That's a long sentence, and it's an ugly one. It's way more. It's a lot more uglier than child molester. It sounds like you 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 did something horrible to a kid, to a baby. That's what it sounds like. It's designed to sound like that. It's designed to get you killed before you get to trial. It's designed to make everyone turn on you who find out what you're in there for and what you got charged with. Your life will never be the same, even if you're found not guilty, which I was, which I'll speed this up. I'm not going to tell the whole story of jail and all this here and the things they did to me, the horrible, unspeakable moves they tried on me because I won in the end and I beat them all up, beat them all down, beat them all back. They never want to see me again. But that's another story. To make a long story short, read the transcripts. The trial was a joke. When the jury got up and was supposed to leave and deliberate, three people went through the door, and then all of a sudden I seen the whole line coming back through the door. They didn't even get a chance to go. Half the jury didn't ever even go through the door, let alone to another room to deliberate on something. They already had their mind made up, like everyone else, even the judge. This is a joke, a wind from his finger. You read the transcripts, read it. You're gonna see. Here's a person that says, "Hey, he didn't do nothing." Whoa, 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 whoa. If you don't play ball with us, you know they're gonna take your little brother away. You don't help us, you guys don't care, then you're a part of it. You if you hide and protect this guy, we're gonna take your brother away. We're gonna take your kids away. But I could create smart people, and the girl was trained by me. She was smart, and she outsmarted them. They gave her some fabricated story to tell, and she edited where everyone would know it was made up and fictional. And they didn't think a little girl was smart like that. You know what they did? This girl was advanced for her age. They made her dress down with a little bow ribbon tied in the back with a little plaid dress on and a ribbon in the back of her hair. You know the little girl look? This is what they did because a superficial monster was the DA. You know, I don't want to talk about those creatures. You know, their day is coming. And so, they can't win. You know, can't win with skin. That's not strong enough to win anything or support anything. Just the only thing they do is incriminate themselves as insane and incompetent to be in charge of anything. To be don't no one's gonna even want to help with anything. You don't need a clumsy person helping you with delicate matters. They're just gonna mess things up no matter how helpful they try to be. I don't dance with uncoordinated people because all they do is step on your toes. So we got a two-time loser here because they didn't do their homework because they're not professional. They're a bunch of regular people with delusions of grandeur in a job that makes people treat them like gods. So they're starting to act like gods. They're way less than the average person. They're damaged goods. But the politicians are going to try the same thing. So I figure I'll slice them up and these politicians too. This is the only ammunition they got against me. I let them keep it until this last moment and release this note because if I had released it ahead of time, they wouldn't have tried it. It's like me giving them a move to use and then take it away from them at the last minute when they don't have time to come up with nothing else. And the date is like January 24th. So to show you how long I planned this, how well I planned this. To plan an October move in January and manipulate them all year long until I decide to take away the ammunition I gave them. They're gonna try to Michael Jackson me. The last man, because they can't beat me intellectually, they can't beat me socially, they can't beat me on no levels in popularity contests. They can't win. To debate me is career suicide, and everyone's gonna know that. So you're gonna try dirty tricks because that's all they do. They got two lame tricks. Come and tell every group they're talking to, you're the backbone of America, and then go tell the next group the same thing, and then smear tactics on their competitor, or why you don't want to elect them. He's a womanizer. I'm gonna cover everything, sex, everything. I'm gonna let you know everything about me. And I'm going to ask you, what does it have to do with me doing my job in my office? What does any of these things? They're not related, they're not connected, and these are in the past, and this is in the now. Nothing in the past can affect anything in the now. And whoever is talking is crazy. You don't listen to them, they're crazy, they should be fired. You don't need any crazy leaders or crazy people doing it. I don't need a crazy garbage man. He might decide to do something crazy with that robot arm one day, like go around grabbing up people and throwing them in the back. I don't need any insane people doing anything. You don't need any of them on the world. People born with a physical mental problem that can't do anything about that. There is something you could do about that. No one even see. That's what I'm saying about these fake doctors. Their mental problem can be corrected surgically. It's really medicine, but it's chemistry. Knowing your chemistry can be, see, what is a pedophile? What is a rapist? What is a pervert? It is a person with a chemical imbalance, with a hormone imbalance. All right? Their hormones are out of control, and they don't know what, they can't think their way out of it because it's chemical. It's not psychological. They're thinking there's something psychological wrong with it. And how is putting them in a cage going to fix any of it? That part's crazy too. The whole jail thing is insane. We don't care if you fix them, just keep them away from me. Until when? Till they get crazier and worse, and then we just let them back out free? Because you only paid us to keep them this long. We're in this for the money. So I'll shut down everybody here now. CPS, my peers, everyone running for everything in every office, every critic, every traumatized, stereotyped, generic mom at home, social services, the psychological community, the medical community, the legal community, the educational community. You understand? See how this is going? It's a barrage knocking down everything. And it would not have to be if you would have just listened to what I said about get rid of the crazies. You're going to jeopardize your institution, your whole country, instead of complying with you can't have crazy people running things. We'll take the whole thing from you because you're incompetent too. If you keep allowing crazy people to run things and turn around and cry about why things aren't running right, you're insane. You know your friends seriously ill and you know what their job is and you're not saying a word. But you're real vocal talking about Trump. It's crazy when you know people in power that are crazy for real and you know them and you're not saying anything. Why? Because they know you're crazy too. That's what's wrong with this insane society. They actually got a system of clicking going on in all of your so-called government management where they don't want anybody in here unless we got some dirt on them. It's like mandatory that they have some dirt on you because you could betray us and tell everybody. It's like the bad cop thing. They want every cop to have some dirt on them just so they know he won't snitch on them. Politicians are like that too in your management. They want everybody to be dirty so they can do what you see them doing to them. When they don't act right, we'll air out your dirty laundry and get you out of here. 10 years ago, you said this to a secretary. I'ma smash all that down. You're sick. Can't get mad at a fly for flying or a dog for barking. Can't get mad at a man for being a man and doing what men do. And your idea of censorship is insane. Look at the history of it. Women in the West could not wear a dress that showed their ankles because of people like you. Then, later years, a movie star, all she had to do was show her calf. And men went wild because of people like you. It's in all the old movies. Go back and watch them, you guys. How did women catch men back in them days? Watch the hitchhiker move. All she did was show a little leg. We got women walking around in front of us butt naked with a little string up their butt. In them days, all they had to do was show a little leg. Show you how restrictive they were. Show you how crazy they were. They were insane. They want to dictate to you, a body part is illegal. Everyone has a body, and they can't get rid of it. But they're going to tell you what to do with your body. You cannot show this part of your body is illegal, but this part is not. Sick people who decide that body parts are illegal and body parts aren't. Body parts should be shown and body parts shouldn't, based on their perverted bones in the closet of what they do behind closed doors. I like sucking on breasts, so I think breasts are bad. In other words, someone made sex bad when they were old and blue haired and couldn't have sex no more. Incompetent and insane. Your leaders are. And they're criminals. Like I told you, CPS are criminals. They go and threaten and tear up people's houses and then threaten these people that uh, if you don't do what we say, we're going to take your kids. And then they sick them on people they think are potential. I'm going to remind you, crime does not have to be created. If crime has to be created by the cops, then we don't need the cops at all. Well, if CPS has to go out and create pedophiles and abusers or entrap them or tempt them or whatever, like there isn't enough business to go around, they need to be fired. And the staff definitely needs to be chopped down if they're going around trying to drum up some business. They're not needed. Here's the third motivator besides the two budgets, the original break up their home budget and the reunification put them back together budget. Here's the third thing. April is Child Protection Month. They go on a witch hunt. Check the numbers. Check the data. Look at all 12 months and then look at April and tell me, oh, there just happened to be more abuse going on that month. No. Shows you what these people are doing. The numbers, it looks like all of a sudden everybody decided to do something wrong in April because they're trying to justify their damn budget. Listen, children and private citizens, they're scamming you. You are not an undercover CPS investigator. There's no such thing as your job title, and you can't hire minors to do anything. It's illegal. Did you get paid for it? Right. That's because it doesn't exist. Listen, parents, they're not going to cut you a break because you went to try to trap some poor soul. They're lying to you. But here's what you can do. You can report them. You can sue them for everything they've done, even their threats, and you can expose them what they tried to get you to do. We're going to give you names of attorneys because you're part of a class action suit. You can sue these people for wrecking your life. You can sue these people for wrecking your life because they can't. In other words, we can bring literally millions of people who say they wrecked their lives. They cannot bring any substantial amount of people to say they saved their life or they protected them or they did any good or public service. They can't bring forth witnesses and testimonials. Very few, but we can bring forth witnesses and testimonial to the opposite. So the politicians, which are insane, are using anybody they can put pressure on, like these people who are insane. Everybody's pulling every string they can. Can we stop this dude? Because we can't compete with him. We can't even debate him. We've never faced anything like this before. You can't beat me. You can't defeat me. I will be elected if I haven't already been, because this note will play longer than the election will. I will be elected both times, and then I will return to the world and finish doing more things bigger than what you think that office is. I'm not here like you. Got no credit for living, and I'm nobody without the title they gave me. I'm great already, without a single title given to me by any of these inferiors. They're not qualified to educate me, give me a PhD in no subject. I'm giving them subjects that are not on the books. They're not qualified to issue me one piece of paper in any area. But I'm qualified to issue them a piece of paper saying that they're sick. I'm qualified to serve them with a piece of paper saying cease and desist because you're incompetent and that you must seek psychiatric help, or either way you're fired. If you intend to be rehired, here's what you must prove: that you can dis- distinguish the difference between reality and your own thoughts, and that you know the consequences of your actions, that you even know what reality is. They can't do it. So it tells you what the outcome is going to be. And if you want help, you cannot turn to crazy people just because you like their hair. Come on now. Nice suit. No. The election cannot be just a popularity contest anymore. That's what it's been. It's how stars get in office. They were popular. Arnold didn't know one thing about being governor or running a state. And Reagan didn't know nothing about running a country. They were movie stars. It was a popularity contest, and it still is. But after me, it won't be again. It's going to be the best person in the best spot, the best brains in all the thinking head positions. That's why they're called heads. You're supposed to put your best head up there, the best arms in the best position, and the best feet in the best position. In other words, the best shooter shooting, the best drivers driving, the best pilots flying. You're gonna get some drunk because he's my brother-in-law or cousin just to get my wife off my butt. That's what's been going on, and you know it. Stop. And I'm gonna remind you, anyone defending this crap is gonna become a target. Anyone trying to justify this cesspool of a society is gonna become a target of the ones. Stop. It is the easiest thing to do in existence, to stop. Okay? Understand, it doesn't take any muscles, it doesn't take any money, it doesn't take any special equipment, it doesn't take anything to stop, not even breath. It doesn't take thought, it doesn't take anything to stop. It is truly the simplest, easiest move to make. It is a non-movement. You don't even have to move to stop. It can't even be called a move. Simplest action. It's not even an action. The simplest thing to do is to be. Just stop doing things. Don't just don't just do something. Stand there. That's what I'm telling you. That's how your brain's been flipped around backwards. You've been programmed. Don't just stand there. Do something. And you'll never be able to be at rest, at peace, or anything. You'll be nervous, you bored, whatever. But I'm telling you, don't just do something. Stand there. It's healthy for you. I'm telling you, it is mind awakening. It is soothing. It is everything. Just stand there. You don't even have to think about nothing. Just stop. And then all these things, that's all I'm telling them to do. Just stop. Anyone saying they can't do it or it's not that easy or it is insane and preaching some insane stuff and it's off with their head. I don't care what the age, what the background, what the race is. I don't care. It's off with their head. Every After this, everyone must seek psychological screening in public service.